Hello YouTube, how is everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I have my first Vice City lore video for you guys, and if you guys enjoy this series, please do drop a like on it because it does help me to make more content like this. But on today's video, the topic of this video is a question that you probably really want to know the answer to, but you never really asked yourself, which is, how did Earnest Kelly, the old guy that's at the Printworks, how did he know that Lance was untrustworthy? Because Earnest actually did know, and he saw right through Lance. So in this video, I'm going to explain how Earnest knew that Lance was going to betray Tommy or highly suspected it, and why he actually didn't warn Tommy ahead of time. So anyways, let's get the video started here. So at the very end of the game, Earnest actually gives you this phone call. Take a listen to it.
Tommy, it's Earnest Kelly.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing okay. I'll need a stick to walk, but I should be back at work soon enough.
Good.
I heard about Lance. What a little prick, huh?
Yes.
Never trust a man who walks the streets in his pajamas, that's what I say. Glad you killed him. I hope it was painful for the prick.
I think it was. You know, I just didn't think he was like that.
Tommy, for a raging lunatic, you're pretty naive. I'll be back at work soon. Teach you a thing or two about life, you hear?
Take your time, Ernest. Look after yourself.
So you guys heard it from Earnest right there. Earnest actually was happy that Tommy had killed Lance, and he said, never trust a man that walks the streets in his pajamas. Tommy then says, I just didn't think he was like that. To which Earnest actually tells him that, Tommy, for a raging lunatic, you really are naive. I'll be back at work soon enough to teach you a thing or two about life, you hear? So how did Earnest know? How did he know, but Tommy didn't see it? Why is that? So at the very end of Vice City, we have this cutscene in which Sonny Forelli actually arrives, and Lance betrays you. Now, I have two other videos coming up. I have a lore video coming up on Sonny Forelli, and one coming up on Lance. But anyways, this is the scene where Lance actually betrays you.
You know, Tommy, I did what I could for you. I pulled strings, called in favors. I was your friend, Tommy. I hoped you'd see sense, see what's good for business. I trusted you, Tommy, and you disappointed me. But at least someone in your chicken shit organization knows how to do business. Isn't that right, Lance?
Sorry, Tommy. This is Vice City. This is business.
You sold us out.
No, I sold you out, Tommy. I sold you out. The real cash is upstairs in the safe.
So, Tommy, what was the big plan? You think I'd just take the fake cash, save face, and run away with my tail between my legs?
No. I just wanted to piss you off before I kill you.
So how did Earnest, in such a short time, determine that Lance was a traitor? How did he determine that Lance was going to betray Tommy? So the only time that we actually see Lance and Earnest interact is in the mission Hit the Courier. This is actually the second and final mission for the Printworks, in which Tommy is actually going to go after the counterfeit syndicate and steal their plates. However, though, if you only played Vice City, you would think that this is the only time that Lance and Earnest actually interact, but it's actually false. Lance and Earnest actually know each other for years. Earnest has actually known Lance way longer than Tommy has. Now where? In Vice City Stories. Vice City Stories takes place in 1984, 2 years actually prior to Vice City, which takes place in 1986. And in that game, there's actually a really nice explanation on this, that they actually did it specifically, I'm assuming, for this lore. So what happens is, in the game, you're playing as Vic Vance, who is the brother of Lance Vance. Now, Lance tells Vic that they are robbing Sergeant Jerry Martinez's coke, when in reality, this is actually the Mendez brothers' coke. And the Mendez brothers actually get the Lance brothers in and demand an explanation. They demand to know exactly who has been ripping them off. And Lance comes up with an excuse saying that it was Sergeant Martinez who was actually doing it, and that he is a DEA. DEA is Drug Enforcement Administration.
So, Victor, Lance, who has been ripping us off? All of us, because now we are partners. A team, as it were. 4 brothers.
Yeah,
It was Martinez.
Really? Okay, prove it. I mean, prove it now.
How the hell are we gonna prove Martinez was behind them losing this shipment?
Look, Martinez is turning states. All we need to do is get some photos of him with the feds. We could even make out like he was an undercover cop, like Forbes. That's it. Man, I am a genius. take some photos of Martinez talking to the feds, then get Forbes' ID from my place, and meet me at the print works.
The print works?
Trust me. I see you there, brother.
So at this point in the game, Martinez was protecting the Mendez brothers' cocaine shipments, but because he failed, they wanted him dead. So Martinez took his chances with the DEA and decided to testify against the Mendez brothers. Now, Vic, what he does is he actually follows Martinez as he's meeting up with his DEA contact, takes pictures of him. And what Lance actually does, Lance takes the ID of Forbes. Now, Forbes was an undercover and corrupt cop that was trying to get the best of Lance and Vic. However, he ended up dying when Vic killed him after he tried to escape. So Lance had his DEA ID. Now, what Lance did was he took the pictures that Vic had of Martinez meeting up with the DEA contact, and he put Martinez's also front picture on Forbes' DEA card. And how did he finish this up? He went to the print works. That's right, he went to the print works. And who would be at the print works? It would be Earnest Kelly.
Photos, Forbes' ID, cool. I put them together with these phony ID papers my man just forged.
So, instead of DEA agent Forbes,
We got Agent Jerry Martinez, first class asshole. That should convince Mendez that Jerry was a cop.
what if it doesn't?
Run, but don't come running after me. My ass will be up in a tree in Haiti.
Even though Ernest does not make an actual physical appearance in Vice City stories, it's pretty obvious that he is the one who helps Lance out. He's been at the print works for years, and he's already been printing counterfeit bills. He knows how to do that stuff.
Crap, Sonny. Low-grade crap. I've always fancied printing money. It ain't too hard. You know, I've been doing it on a small scale for years.
Really?
Ernest even says to Tommy that he's been printing counterfeit money on a small scale for years. So he's been at the print works even during Vice City stories. And who else would help Lance with this? Who else would help Lance make a fake ID? It will be Ernest. That's his specialty. He knows how to do that. Now, how does this relate to Ernest knowing that Lance was going to betray Tommy? This doesn't prove in Ernest's mind that Lance is going to betray Tommy yet, but one thing that he does know about Lance is he knows that Lance is a pretty slimy guy because he's going to frame somebody for something that they're not doing. He's going to frame Martinez for being a DEA agent. Now, don't get me wrong, Martinez was a scumbag and he deserved to get framed. But the point is, this is a very, sneaky and cheap tactic, what Lance is doing. He's framing Martinez for something he didn't do, putting his ID on there, being very deceiving. So Ernest didn't know exactly what it was for. He was getting paid for it, but he knew at the same time is that Lance was being very deceiving. And this is the type of attitude that he puts on. There's no doubt in my mind that Ernest and Lance probably had some more interactions in the years up ahead, so Ernest has had a good chance to know Lance. You have to remember, Tommy knew Lance for what, maybe a month? During the events of Vice City, where Vic Vance knew Lance for years, and so Vic takes a very different approach of Lance because Vic knows what the type of person that Lance is. If Ernest had communicated with Lance in those 2 years, he would also know exactly the type of person he is. But that's not just it. There's actually way more proof that Ernest knew that Lance was going to betray Tommy. The other explanation for how Ernest knew that Lance was going to betray Tommy is actually in the mission Hit the Courier, the same mission that I was talking about where you actually see Lance and Ernest on one screen. Let's take a look at that cutscene right here.
All right, the courier's moving the plate from the docks today. I'm gonna go intercept them, grab the plates, lose any heat, and make my way back here. Now, depending how well this goes, we may have 5 minutes to print the money before the counterfeit syndicate finds us, or we may have all year. Either way, I want green rolling off the presses 5 minutes after I get back. Got it?
Don't you worry, Tommy. We'll be ready.
Me and the boys will be around in the neighborhood in case you need any heat taken care of.
All right, everybody cool? All right, I'll catch you later.
So you heard what Lance said. Lance said, me and the boys are going to be in the neighborhood in case you need any heat taken care of. And Ernest overheard all of that. Now, remember, what happens during this mission? Tommy actually goes to actually get the plates from the counterfeit syndicate. He takes out a lot of them. The counterfeit syndicate is pretty well armed, so Tommy has to fight his way through them. And not only that, but when Tommy fights his way through them and he gets the plates, he gets a bunch of the police after him. Now, you can take the helicopter to easily escape, but even if you take a car to try to get away, you have no backup. No one helps you. No one helps you deal with the cops. No one helps you deal with the syndicate when you're fighting them. So Lance just says that me and the boys are going to be in the neighborhood to help you out. Lance betrayed Tommy at this point. He's already betrayed Tommy. He's already been talking to Sonny. So Ernest was at this time at the print works with Lance. Most likely Lance didn't leave. And Ernest saw that Lance didn't do anything. Lance did not give Tommy any kind of backup. Ernest knows that Tommy fought his way through these guys and escaped the police and had no support whatsoever. Now, the reason that Tommy didn't catch on to this is because Tommy was preoccupied with the plates. He was preoccupied with the plates, he was excited he got them, and he wanted to see them start printing money. He also didn't think that Lance would betray him because Tommy actually thought that Lance was his best friend. But we still haven't talked about the biggest proof. The biggest proof, this is the definite proof, where Ernest knew 100% at this point that Lance was going to betray Tommy, is in the mission, Cap the Collector. Let's take a look at the cutscene right here.
Okay, what's the emergency?
Who? Tommy. Some mob thugs said they'd come to take their cut. Said it was a Mr. Forello's money. I feel like crap.
Forelli? Sonny Forelli?
Yeah, that's the guy. I think. They were very insistent.
I'm not angry with you. Get him to the hospital.
Tommy, rip that guy a new asshole for me.
I'm gonna rip him too!
How did Ernest at this point know that Lance was 100% going to betray Tommy? It's because Sonny's guys came by the print works demanding money and they beat up Ernest. They hurt him pretty bad. He had to be taken to the hospital, and from the phone call he says he has to walk with a stick now. The reason that Ernest knew that Lance was going to 100% betray Tommy here is because there was no protection at the place. You would think that a place like the Printworks, which prints millions of dollars of counterfeit cash, you think that there would be some kind of security at this place. You think that a gang would fortify this place. You think that a gang would have its best guys here watching this place, making sure that nobody messes with it. But no, we see none of Tommy's guys here. We just see Ernest beat up. We see a few of the print shop workers, but we do not see any of Tommy's guys. And on top of that, when the Mafia is actually going to each of Tommy's businesses to tax them, there is no security there. None of it. And if there is security, they don't interfere with the Mafia. Why are they not interfering with the Forelli family? The reason? Because of Lance. Lance is the underboss. Lance is in charge of security. He is the head of security. In a criminal organization, typically the underboss would be in charge of security. Tommy's role is he's the boss. He chooses what businesses the criminal organization is going to run. He invests money into them. Then Lance is responsible for managing those businesses, making sure that they make money, follow the boss's orders, and he's in charge of security. Ken Rosenberg, he's in charge of washing the dirty money, making it seem all legit, and helping the gang with any kind of legal problems. But like I said, because Lance is in charge of security, and there's no security at these places, you begin to ask yourself why. How is the Mafia so easily able to tax these businesses? They even go to the Malibu Club, which is the most profitable business, and there's no security there to stop them. It's because Lance dismissed them. It's either that, or Lance probably told the gang, Tommy's orders is to let the Forelli family take the money. That's probably what he ended up telling them. And any gangsters that objected to that were probably scared to question Lance, because Lance would say, these are Tommy's orders and we follow them. And you don't want to question Tommy's orders. So that's probably what happened. That is why there's no security in these places. That's why the Printworks has no security. There's a reason that Ernest was beaten up so easily. Why would the Printworks not be protected when they're printing millions of dollars of counterfeit cash? Any gang would have top-notch security to make sure that that place is not raided. And if you want definite proof that Lance is in charge of security, just listen to what Tommy tells him in the final mission.
My operation. Mine. Ken, you get the first run of counterfeit cash and put 20 mil in briefcases. Lance, you get the guys together.
Lance, you get the guys together. And what happens? When Sonny Forelli shows up, there is no backup. Tommy is doing everything on his own because Lance dismissed all of those gangsters. All those gangsters you see hanging around Tommy's mansion. They were nowhere in sight because Lance dismissed them, probably telling them something. Tommy said something along the lines, go here or do that. Don't be here at this place right now. And so the gang didn't want to question Lance because he's the head of security, he's the underboss, so they just listened to him. But now here's the final question, wrapping up this video. If Ernest knew 100% that Lance was going to betray Tommy at this point, why doesn't he warn Tommy? Why doesn't he tell Tommy that Lance is going to betray you? One simple word, fear. That's why. Ernest is a criminal, but he's not a gangster. He prints counterfeit money, he helps the criminal organization make money. Like I said, he's a criminal, but he's not a gangster like Tommy or Lance. And what is Ernest's rank in the Vercetti gang? He's kind of like an associate in a way. Maybe, if anything, possibly a captain, but a captain is usually a gangster. He would just be running the print works here. So he's an associate that runs the print works for the gang. And because of that, if he actually did speak out and tried to tell Tommy, he would tell Tommy, hey, listen, Lance is going to betray you. That would be very, very bad because he's speaking against the underboss of the gang. So it's his word against the underboss. And not only that, but the underboss is the boss's best friend. So Lance is Tommy's best friend. So that right there is really, really bad. Imagine being in Ernest's position. Imagine trying to tell Tommy that Lance is plotting against you. And then Tommy asks you, what? How? Do you have proof? And Ernest would just basically have these suspicions. Like I said, everything that I described to you is more suspicions. That's what it is. Even if Ernest had told Tommy all of this, I don't think that Tommy would have believed him. I don't think he would have. And remember when Ernest says about Tommy, he says to Tommy,
The prick.
I think it was. I just didn't think he was like that.
Tommy, for a raging lunatic, you're pretty naive. I'll be back at work soon. Teach you a thing or two about life, you hear?
Take your time, Ernest. Look after yourself.
for a raging lunatic, he's pretty naive. And Ernest is actually right. Tommy is pretty naive. Even if Ernest got all this information together and he told Tommy, Tommy would still not have believed him because Lance was his best friend. Tommy never had a best friend. And that was one of the things about Vice City is, you know, you play as a criminal, sure, in this game, but there was kind of a moral lesson in friendship and who your real friends are. And it turns out that Ken Rosenberg was Tommy's actual best friend because Tommy thought that Sonny Forelli was his friend in 1971, but Sonny Forelli had screwed him over. And then so many years later, Tommy thought that Lance was his friend. You gotta remember that Tommy saved Lance's life. He saved Lance's life from being tortured at the junkyard by Diaz's men. Tommy thought that there was some kind of code between them, some kind of honor code of friends, but there wasn't. Lance didn't care about that. Lance doesn't even thank Tommy for saving him from the junkyard. So if Ernest did actually try to speak out against Lance, this could put his life in danger because he's speaking out against the underboss. And so Ernest can't do anything, really. Even though he wants to warn Tommy, he really can't do anything because he would need 100% proof and everything that he has is suspicion, and Tommy wouldn't believe him either way. What ended up happening in the end, when Lance actually showed his true face, and Tommy actually witnessed his betrayal firsthand, and then Tommy actually killed Lance and killed Sonny, this is the best possible outcome for Ernest, because Ernest did not have to put his life at risk speaking out against the underboss when he's just an associate, and on top of that, the traitor has been eliminated, and the threat has been eliminated, Sonny. So that is the story of how Ernest actually knew all of that stuff. Ernest is a pretty smart guy. That's the thing about him. He's a character that appears in few missions in Vice City, and he makes an off-screen appearance in Vice City stories, but despite that, this character has some brains. He's pretty smart, he's old, he's probably spoken to a lot of gangsters, he knows people, he knows how people act, and he saw right through Lance. And another reason that he was able to see through Lance, it all makes sense. It's because he's a printer. How does that make sense? Because when he's printing stuff, especially counterfeit bills, he wants to make sure that everything is perfect. He wants to make sure that there's no small details left messed up when he's printing something. So he looks at everything, examines everything in close detail. And because of that, he also applies that to the real world. So when he sees something is a little bit off, he's going to remember that, and he's going to pay really close attention to that. And there's one final thing about Ernest. He says to Tommy, never trust a man that walks the streets in his pajamas. That's what I say.
I heard about Lance. What a little prick, huh?
Yes.
Never trust a man who walks the streets in his pajamas, that's what I say. Glad you killed him. I hope it was painful for the prick.
What I think he means by this is pajamas are something that you wear in your house privately when you're going to sleep. No one else really sees you in your pajamas. And what I think he means by this is I think he means that Lance is not wearing his true outfit. Lance is not behaving like his true self. He's putting on an act. He's pretending to be Tommy's friend, when in reality he's not. That's what I think he means by when he says you walk in the streets in his pajamas, because Lance is not wearing his true outfit. He's not showing who he truly is. At least that's my interpretation of that quote right there. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video about Ernest. I have more videos planned. I have a video planned on Lance and Sonny, but those videos are going to be much longer, and they're going to be take me some time to make them, so just please be patient with me. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like. It does help me make more content like this, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone.
You know, I just didn't think he was like that.
Tommy, for a raging lunatic, you're pretty naive. I'll be back at work soon. Teach you a thing or two about life, you hear?
Take your time, Ernest. Look after yourself.